in the Zoom room and whoever is with us so far live on Instagram. Good afternoon and welcome to this afternoon and this week staging of the entrepreneur's journey. This afternoon, I have with me Leighton Campbell, Managing Director and the e-commerce general of Mobile Edge Solutions Limited. Now, Mobile Edge is one of the proud companies who we've had as a participant in our earlier accelerator program. And in 2018, Leighton participated and won the most improved business as well as the best team player awards in the accelerator program. He went on in 2019 to be awarded the JBDC Bossman of the Year award. Now, this means that this is one of our very aggressive and quick, smart learning clients that we work with here at JBDC. Welcome, Leighton. How are you doing?
Good. Thanks for having me here. I appreciate the invite to be on the entrepreneur's journey.
And how have things been going with you? It's a long time I don't see you.
Yeah, it's been a while. As I was saying earlier, we're trying to survive COVID and just stay safe, keep the business going. As I keep telling persons right now, it doesn't really matter what happens. We just need to get to 2021 in either the same or better shape than we entered 2020. But so unfortunately for some persons, that is a difficult undertaking. And for us, it is also a difficult undertaking because the landscape has changed so much. But for us, our mandate is one that is to enable the driving of e-commerce within the local and international sphere. And as much as COVID has many negatives, it has definitely fast tracked the uptake of persons going digital, adapting these types of principles and concepts. So it has to some extent worked out to our benefit, but it's still all about survival because as much as Mobile Edge was positioned perfectly to serve the market needs, the way how the customers identify and recognize their needs have changed significantly. So we have had to do a lot of pivoting on our side to meet those demands. So it has been a challenging year, but it's one that we are committed to, and we just want to make it 2021 in one piece.
So, I mean, I just told our listeners that you were basically poised to scale your business at the end of the accelerator program in 2018. Tell us what it is that you were doing then and how things may have shifted and how so in this time.
Okay, well, when we entered the JVDC Accelerator program, one of the core focuses was to scale some of the successes that we already had in business. Mobile Edge, well, Mobile Edge is coming. Mobile Edge was started in 2016, but we're actually coming from a previous company called Corta Caribbean, which was slated to provide SMS communication services to customers. So when we started Mobile Edge, we started with our focus in SMS. But one of the main reasons why we started Mobile Edge was because we realized that with over 100% mobile penetration in Jamaica, there's a great opportunity to help companies to service customers wherever they are through these mobile devices. And with that said, we started to now look at more e-commerce, payment gateways, and stuff like that. So when we joined the JBDC Accelerator program, we were thinking, hey, let's just build on what has been working, which is clearly the SMS. But when we really started to look at the market needs, e-commerce was a bigger need, and it was also highly underserviced. So we actually chose to pivot away from our sweet spot to where the future is going. And I remember one of the things that we were very intent on is finding a way to build websites, e-commerce based websites in a very templated and way that allowed quick turnaround. So funny enough, working with our BDO German, Brian at the time, we were working on that model and what that model could look like. What would it take for us? Because we were already in the business of building large products. You know, we built our own SMS application, so we have very experienced software developers and website developers. So when we were going to the market at the time, we were focusing mainly on large websites, large projects, and so forth. But we realized that there was a great need for smaller entities, small business, medium-sized business, even large businesses who did not fully understand the potential of e-commerce to be able to start small and grow their usage. And funny enough, I can safely say that that is what had set the foundation for us to do what we are now doing. Because I remember during the JBDC Accelerator program, when we were sitting and meeting with Jermaine around, how it is that we're going to fulfill this in, how we're going to move from building very large websites to which takes months to building websites in that takes a few weeks or even days. And we started to look at what it took to achieve that. And to be frank with you, that has become the basis of the products that we are now offering to market. One of the main pivots that Mobile Edge has had to make is that instead of building this large website at once for our customers, which oftentimes for them is overwhelming because they need to have the internal resources to turn out the content and to manage the project internally for it to happen, and actually trim that down to undertaking the projects in bite sizes. So we actually are just launching our response to COVID solution called Get Paid Apps in October, which is really focused on giving companies an e-commerce in a box solution. And what that does,
Hold on, Leighton. What do you say? It's called Get Paid.
Get Paid Apps, right?
Okay.
E-commerce in our box, SMS, e-commerce in our box systems. And in essence, what it does, it gives companies, small or large companies, the ability to get online with their products, with their payment infrastructure, and set up within a matter of days to weeks, depending on how big that company is. So I remember again in JBDC, we were struggling to get down to 14 days turnaround time after getting the content for these websites for our customers. Now we're actually turn around e-commerce system in days. Like if you give me requirements today, I can show you a sample of what you'll get by tomorrow. That's how we have really pivoted. And to be frank, as I said, that really started from the JBDC Accelerator program, putting the shape for that, and also more importantly, putting the processes behind supporting that quick turnaround and project management of these systems.
Okay, so you mentioned before, and I just want you to clarify what SMS services that you pivoted from look like, and if you could help the people listening to know where they would recognize you from in the earlier days.
All right. So in terms of SMS systems, we specialize a lot in campaign communication and also a lot of automation. So for instance, when I get those text messages from companies like NCB notifying of your credit card usage, how much money is left on your card, what is happening in your bank account. We have done this for a number of institutions, NCB, JMMB, CNWJ Credit Union, First Heritage Credit Union, and a lot of many others in different areas. We work across many industries, government and so forth as well. So we specialized heavily in that type of communication system where we provided a application that we gave to customers, and they were able to manually send out their campaigns on their own or actually integrate it with systems to automate. So it is really from this level of innovation that we found that, wow, SMS does work. People respond to it. What else can we do through the mobile phone, And this is where we started to look at e-commerce and all these other things that we're now doing.
So it says, because I looked at your website just before I came on, and it says that you are website developers, but you're also innovators in communication. So this is
Definitely.
how you integrate. both of
Definitely.
these.
Definitely. Because I'll give you an example, Kira. This is the reality. And this is what a lot of persons need to understand. You see, once you're able to combine commerce and communication, you can do business with anybody anywhere. That is, those are the two fundamental things that you need to be able to do business. You need to communicate with the customer and you need to be able to transact business. So when you walk into an Indian man or Chinese man store and he sends a sales rep over to you to say, hey sir, how can I help you today? That is the communication that has come across. And then that person finds a way to make a deal with you for you to purchase that item and he closes the sale. It is the same thing online. When you think about customers who are all over the world and you want to reach them, the number one way to reach a customer guaranteed is via SMS. Why? The response rate is high, the throughput rate is high, there's no filter for you to go through. So, when you send this email campaign, sometimes it go to spam, it go to junk, it is all over the place. When it comes to SMS, there's nothing to filter out the delivery of that message. So it's guaranteed communication. And then when you're able now to drop a link to your store, drop a link to your product page, drop a link to your sign up form in the body of that SMS, then that is where you're combining commerce and communication to do the business. And literally, that is what we have done with the experience that we had starting in SMS. So that's why for example, for us, we are not letting go any at all on the communication part. Actually, we have just introduced, we are now introducing actually another tool which is very great for communication, which is actually an advertising platform that persons can put on their website, put in their apps. It's called Samba Networks, and it enables you, let's say, for instance, JBDC has their website and they have a portal that persons log into, or even your online banking platform for argument's sake, and you want to be able to communicate effectively to those customers, you can put targeted video ads in those with end card call to action. So if it's that, let's say, for instance, get a loan now with whatever rates, persons can click on that and automatically reach to a landing page. So we are finding more and more innovative ways to boost the communication with the customers and to also drive commerce through these mobile and internet devices.
So it's a combination of having been assessing, looking at the market trends, looking at what's going on in the industry. And I don't know, it's random timing. Being ready, opportunity is,
Yes,
comes for those who are ready.
definitely. Again, I will say that I will not say that I was ready at the beginning of COVID. We had to really assess and make some critical decisions, but at least the foundation was already set. So we have spent the last 6 months there about speaking to customers daily. At some point in time, we're speaking to 4, 5, 6 new customers daily, doing consultations with them. And over this period, we got to understand a lot more about what exactly is the basic need that a company has needs to be able to service your customers online. And that is what we have pretty much packaged in our Get Paid apps solutions that we're offering to market. There are also some of your own customers, JBDC customers, who from our first webinar took up some of those packages and they're loving exactly what it's doing for them. You're really looking at taking out a lot of the headache, the guessing and spelling out of e-commerce as a new way of selling right now. There's a lot of misinformation, a lot of also lack of information on what it takes to get online and so forth. So you find a lot of persons are timid in making that particular step. So for that reason, we have actually put everything together that you need, walk you through what it takes to get online and so forth. And also, we also just released as well our e-commerce guide, which outlines 10 things that you need to move your business online, which again is a very useful tool that persons can use to really understand what it takes to move their business online and get paid.
Okay, Leighton. So I get where you are. I get a full sense of where you are, and it sounds to me like you are exactly where you need to be in terms of having been placed, as I said, this COVID landscape that has been created.
Right.
It would have required businesses and the persons who are in charge of these businesses to look at the environment and to see how it is that they will be able to survive it. What are the steps that they need to take? And
Mhm.
I was saying earlier that you were almost poised because you had already been paying attention to the trends and pivoting and shifting in a direction that is just a beautiful setup for what the demands of this current circumstance now require. Now you started out working in a firm, right? They're gonna start to look at you, Mr.
Yeah.
Leighton Campbell,
Yes.
right? You started out working in a firm. Your background is in computer science. How is it? Tell us. What is it about you that caused you to move from employee within the space of 12 months to being made partner?
All right. So when I left UA during the recession, and during that time it was very difficult to get jobs. I remember being on campus during the summer, closing out my degree, and living on campus. We oftentimes share that communal space, and I was sending out over 200 resumes throughout the entire summer. Yeah.
Wow.
First job I got, I took it. It was in electronic security. I spent 6 months at that company. Within the first 3 months, was the first? I think it was the first three months. I think I joined in September, and by December, I was actually awarded sales rep of the quarter. But there were some things about the management structure and stuff that the company I did not like. So I decided to actually take a pay cut to leave. And separate and apart from the management structure, I was also not getting the experience that I would have wanted at that stage. And as a youngster coming out of university, is either getting one out of two. Is either getting the money or getting the experience. There was some money, but not enough experience. So I took a pay cut to actually join Corta Caribbean at the time, who was just started by Neil Patrick, then who just left Digicel as head of group messaging. So he's actually one of the English expats that were brought out here during the early 2000s to help run and build out Digicel and so forth. And he left Digicel to start that company in collaboration with Tyrone Wilson at the time. So when I started, I actually started as a technical consultant with the company, and I was charged with the responsibility of managing that entire thing. Funny enough, without a brochure about the product, without any information, I had to literally learn the system on my own, resolve customer issues, highly technical issues within 24 hours. And based on my performance there, I even started selling because of just how well I could communicate and break down the complexity of these systems in very simple layman terms. I eventually started selling and even outselling the sales rep at the time. So eventually, Neil had to go back to England. Tyrone took over for a very short stint. They wanted somebody who had a technical understanding of the product and was able to drive the product forward. And I was selected as the ideal person to undertake that responsibility. At which point in time, I was also offered shares in the company. Now, this was directly in line with my thinking because from as long as I've known myself, I've always wanted to be in tech, and I've always wanted to operate a technology company. Upon assuming that role, I was able to actually grow the company significantly from where it was, which was the title sharing a space in Tyrone space at the time to actually being on our own servicing companies like NCB, JN, Hawkeye, many large customers and companies. However, what I found was that like many other solutions out there, and this is why local software developers will always be relevant. International solutions oftentimes just are not ideal, or they just don't provide the complete solution that local persons need. So, for example, I'll give you an example. I currently use QuickBooks right now to manage my system, but nowhere in QuickBooks can I put in a Jamaican address to say that it is actually Jamaican. You have to use things like a Florida, you probably have to use a Florida state. So these simple little things oftentimes impact the ability for persons to be able to localize a software. So with CoreTalk, it was a great tool. It was actually one of the most advanced tools available internationally. However, we had some challenges scaling it locally and integrating it in the way that we wanted to. So literally what we did was that we said, all right, this is not scalable in the way that we want to. Let us actually build our own application using some of the features that we love from that solution. However, strengthen it in the areas that we know it was lacking. And one of those areas was in the area of automation. So this is where we started now to go after some of those bigger customers, like a NCB and so forth. And literally just by developing our own solution, localizing it, and making it easy to integrate, we were able to multiply the revenue from SMS with that switch like 100 folds, you know. And that is what really took us into the direction of mobile edge and moving further into this mobile space and so forth. So literally, that was really what it was. In 2016 is when we started Mobile Edge, and the vision, as I said, was really to enable the doing of business through phones. Companies should be able to service your customers wherever they are, just like how we are able to buy things online and ship it into Jamaica. Jamaica has a very strong entrepreneurial spirit and also a very strong brand and product. And I believe that with what we are able to do, we wanted to be able to empower companies to really be able to service your customers. Also, more importantly, one of the things that I believe that is still lacking, which I think the needs bill will help to open up, is really the creation of more digital entrepreneurs. Reality is that when you think about doing business, if it is that somebody is able to start a business and incur extremely low cost, then you find that there will be a greater success rate in doing so. And the funny story about my transitioning from Core Talk to Mobile Edge was that before I actually did the before I started Mobile Edge, I actually went to Internet Income and did a $10,000 course in website development. And it is that $10,000 investment that I turned around into doing what we're doing now. And when I say website
10,000
development,
Jamaican dollars.
10,000 Jamaican dollars I spent on that course. And it just showed the very basics of what it took to build a website. My very first website was an e-commerce website because that was my intention from all along, you know, and and the rest is history from there.
So basically, your entrepreneurial journey as led to this now is built on the characteristics of you being a natural born leader. You are curious, you're always learning, you're always exploring the environment to understand what's going on. And that speaks to what led you to be named and awarded Entrepreneur and Bossman of the Year, is problem solving, being able to create value
Right.
for a target audience.
Right.
Was there any indication? You said that you knew you always wanted to be in tech and you always wanted to lead a tech company. Was there any indication when you were a child, before even UE, that you tried anything entrepreneurial? Did it show its face in any other way?
No, not entrepreneurial, but I would say technical. I was always very good with my hands. Funny enough, my initial career path was in engineering.
Mm-hmm.
However, some things deviated that into computer science when I went to UWI. But I was always good with my hands. I was always the point person in the household to fix anything. I was always that person. I remember once we got the entire whatnot system to build out with just that one paper with the screws, with the arrows and stuff for no instructions really. And I was able to put that together in a few hours, you know. But I was always the person who was very hands-on, very technical. I never tried anything entrepreneurial, I would say, when I was in high school. When I was in college, however, I did a lot of events, which I guess helped to hone a lot of my marketing, and well, my eye for marketing and was promotion, you know. But it was really that technical skill set, and to date, it has really stuck with me because unlike a lot of entrepreneurs who will, build out their companies and hire a lot of skill or talent to add the value that the company delivers, I instead chose to invest in myself, in my own skill sets, so that I could drive that value and not determine and not depend on any third party to make that happen. So in a sense, I was always a believer in myself. I always believe that if anybody is gonna get it done, I'm definitely one of those persons who can. So because of that, I've never been really shy about taking on challenges, learning new things. I just say I have a curious mind, and also for me, I like to be able to do things myself so that I can lead persons when they are undertaking the task that I want them to do. For me, I like to be very clear in giving instructions. I want to like to be very clear in what I want. So first, I try to invest in my own knowledge of the same systems so that I can communicate those things accordingly. You know.
What would you say is the thing, since you have become an entrepreneur, what would you say is the thing that you have learned as a result of being an entrepreneur, or how has being an entrepreneur changed you as a person?
It has it Entrepreneurship is a very humbling experience. A lot of
Mm,
us come to the table with some amount of skill set, some amount of ideas about who we are, what we want, and what it will take us to get there. Entrepreneurship has a mind of its own. So we have to learn a lot about being patient with the process. It also is very character building because there are times when it really is daunting. It really is, you're wondering, are you doing this thing right? Are you doing it in the right way? Is this the right thing for you? Remember, that a lot of entrepreneurs, especially in consulting spaces, are persons who are typically qualified to work in a pretty decent 9 to 5 role and earn a reasonable living. Now, when you choose to go the entrepreneurial way, you give up a lot of that freedom, a lot of that security, and so forth. And it really forces you, the individual, to focus on what exactly is this that you want for yourself and how you want it. So I had to go through that process of self-discovery, learning what it is that makes me tick, because it can't be always about money. Money comes and money goes. And if you're always chasing a number, then you'll always be chasing. I've had to do a lot of introspection to learn more about myself, what it is that I want for me, what does that look like, so that whatever it is that I'm creating as an entrepreneur serves that need. Also, one of the things that I will tell you as a tech entrepreneur in Jamaica, especially when back in the early 2000s, back in the 2000s, not 2010 past, because technology has come a far away since then. But back then, you would have gotten a lot of doubt. SMS, what is this thing? What don't you just text from phone to phone? Are you doing that full time? Why are you doing that? Does that make money? How does that work? And when you're going through challenges and persons are doubting what you're doing and so forth, it really forces you to build a strong backbone and believe in yourself. Now, can you imagine the level of confidence that you have whenever you find out that all the assumptions that you have been making are actually correct, as opposed to these doubts that persons were casting in your mind at the point of starting. I'm just plugging my laptop that I just realized my
yeah,
battery
I
is
heard
running.
it. I heard the notification ding.
Let me move swiftly.
Yes, before we lose you.
Yes, all right.
Don't want
In
to lose
of
you.
time, back. All
Great.
right. Yes, man. So definitely, when it comes to building your confidence as an entrepreneur, you have to know what you're doing. Also, you have to believe in yourself. You have to also understand that, listen, you will not know everything. I am not shy about what I do not know. Actually, I am even more vocal about the things that I don't know, because those are the areas that you oftentimes will need help. And that was one of the main reasons why I went to JBDC as well at the time, because I was looking for a way to streamline my business in a very structured way. As I tell persons all the time, I want to be able to sell websites like our person's company sell bottles off a shelf. Literally, that was my thought process going into JBDC, and that is what really drove that. So it is important to understand what you don't know, where you need the help. A lot of times as entrepreneurs, we tend to exude confidence. We tend to pretend like we know it all and so forth. To get the business from our customers, to sell our vision to our staff members. to sell our vision to our partners and so forth. But the reality is that oftentimes you benefit a lot from knowing what you do not know, because this is where you have to pull in your skills, your external resources there to support you. So, for example, one of the ways that I have done that is that my board structure is actually pretty unconventional for most companies in Jamaica. Well, my past chairman, called Tyron Wilson, just took over chairmanship of the company. But my past chairman was actually based in England. We have Tyrone here. Then we had another person who sits in Canada. So we have always been a digitally operating company, meeting online long before the Zoom session started and so forth. And that's also another thing that also made us ready for COVID. We were already operating digitally, so we're ready for that. But in a sense, I mentioned the board structure because, as I said, as an entrepreneur, you need to know where you need to pull in help. So for instance, I remember when I recruited Ramkana Sarnath, and our current president, to be a part of our board. He's a very well learned software developer, worked internationally in software development. When I say international, I don't mean like one or two countries, I mean worldwide, where that is concerned. So when I was thinking about Mobile Edge and the direction that I wanted us to go in, I wanted to have certain resources, certain types of persons on the team that could help to guide the direction of the company. Because yes, as much as I did computer science at university, there are many areas to computer science that I am not as strong with. So I had to bring in some resources there to support that. But definitely as an entrepreneur, I say entrepreneurship, the main thing it has taught me is patience, knowing yourself, and really resilience as well. I can't echo how much resilience is important. Most important thing oftentimes is just not to stop. Just don't stop. Just don't stop. Keep going. Once you keep going, you will not do the same stupidness over and over. You will make mistakes, but you won't do it over and over.
I want you to clarify that very well for the people, because to keep going sometimes you can actually end up going in a circle, but keep
True.
going with a learning with a
True.
learning
True.
objective, as you go along,
True.
ensure that you are learning from the process as it continues.
Definitely. Definitely.
Okay, so far what you have said sounds very exciting about this journey that you have been on. Has there been any point as you have been growing in this entrepreneurial journey that you felt so challenged that you thought of giving up?
Yes, man. Yes, man.
Can you speak to one of the most
Who really have
significant?
those? In terms of most recent, I would say the most, but I'll speak about maybe the one that had the greatest impact on me.
Right. Mm.
I remember when I transitioned from Core Talk to Mobile Edge, and I learned the hard way that, boy, once you are changing contract with your customer, you're almost treated like it's new business. The evaluation process for that change is almost like you're treated as a brand new entity with that company. And the amount of customers that I expected to transition from Core Talk to Mobile Edge, it was less than half that actually made the transition. And it was for multiple reasons. One of those was because of the drawbacks of the software. There were some challenges with customer service, customer experience, and so forth. But the long and short of it is that I remember starting Mobile Edge in April 2016, and cash got so tight. I was bootstrapping the business out of my own salary, so I pay myself not to put it right back into the business. I had even another business going on with some car rentals, selling a few stuff online. So I had other stuff supplementing my income, and I had two credit cards canceled on me in 1 month. And I was like, yo, how did I get here? Like, and funny enough, that was one of them was a quarter business credit card in my name that had acquired some debt that we were not able to clear at the time because of some challenges with quarter. But I had those two credit cards canceled in 1 month. And I remember going to work one day and I was just sitting and staring in space, like just dazed. And I'm a person who I normally hide from death. So to have that type of experience, because of business, not even because of personal um, um, challenges or so, but more so because of
Decisions.
every single thing was being done towards business. So if I'm making money in one area of my life, I was dumping it back into the business, dumping it back in. And one of those reasons was because as an IT company, I had to invest in my team. You can't have an IT company giving persons advice and the team members are not of a certain standard. So the overheads was very tight. It was a very challenging time. Also, when we were transitioning from portal to mobile edge, the only thing that we were sure of was that we wanted to cater to the mobile space in a broader sense. So we're still figuring out our product line, we're still figuring out a lot of things. And that moment really brought me to a point in my life where I really had to do a lot of introspection. And that is what really that was one of the points that I said that Leighton, you have millions of dollars in credit card debt that have been canceled on you. If you go look at 9 to 5, it's going to take you years to pay that off. So guess what? You have to stick it out to make this work. And I was able to clear that debt. I think at least a year after or so, a year or two afterwards, we're able to clear all of those things. So all of that has been resolved and so forth. But it's
Hold
just
on, hold on, Leighton. We have to stick a pin right there, so because there's some serious things there to talk about. That's some serious things. No, enough people with the stress kill them in a situation like that.
yeah,
Just
that's
no, when you say millions of dollars in debt, credit card debt, no
yeah,
man, a stress
yeah,
out thing. What got
definitely.
you through it? What was the thing that got you through it?
Um, for me, it's a never die type of attitude. For me, anything I do, I try to be successful at it. I know there's a journey, but for me, success is the key thing. So what I looked at was all right. Do what am I doing? Is it really fulfilling a need? Is it working? Is there a future in what I'm really doing? And once I was able to identify that, all right, this thing definitely does have a future. How do I deal with this in the current reality? I literally just buckled down. So a lot of times as entrepreneurs, whenever we experience these challenges, and funny enough, I told nobody about it. Probably only my girlfriend at the time, no wife, learned later on about those happenings. Because sometimes in the moment you can't really talk about them things there until you figure out for yourself how you're gonna deal with it. But for me, I internalize a lot, I think a lot. So I literally kind of withdrew myself a little bit, focused on what is the most important thing at that point in time for me to do to make the transitions that I need to make and focused on them. And as I say, it's really just resilience. I can tell you that even from the days of court talk, it's many times that companies should have locked down and I found ways to keep it going. So I had that experience coming from court talk before where there was always something looming, some threat, something that was just making this thing seem like an entire mountain to get over. So I had developed that muscle from them, but I think for me, there's a point of no return that I like to call it in entrepreneurship, where you as an entrepreneur have to make a determination on what are you choosing. Are you gonna lock yourself 100% into this thing that you're doing and give it your all? And if it failed, then you can say, all right, I gave it my all, it didn't work out. I'll try something else. But if you don't give it every single thing, then you can't really fault it for failing. So that's what I did. I said, all right, so this is the situation that I'm in. The only way out is through it. So literally, I went through it, to get out of it. And when you're faced with those challenges daily, um, you will find ways to get out of it. You ever hear they speak about, like, for instance, I say when trouble,
When trouble take a pit and short picture.
finish up with you, right? That's
Where
an
there's a
example.
will, there's a way.
There's a will, there's a way. I've seen a thief once upon a time when I was on campus trying to get away from a mob that was going to beat him silly. And I saw him scale a barbed wire fence like it was a ladder.
Yeah.
You understand?
Motivation.
Right. So with the
Right.
right motivation, you can really achieve anything. And a lot of times persons speak about women and their strength in this regard when they face adversities. It's the same with entrepreneurship. Whenever you face adversities, once you have established that, hey, I've reached a point of no return where I can't turn back, I can't undo this. You have to really see yourself through it. And that has kept me going. Also, for me, when I transitioned from the 9 to 5, it was a very deliberate attempt because I realized for me personally, this just did not suit my personality, my character. There are many times, many times when I was either running core talk or even in the early stage of mobile edge, where I'll get frustrated and I'll jump on. I think it was Splash Jamaica at the time that had the online jobs. I think it's no Caribbean Jobs Online or something like that. I don't even know what the online
Yeah,
platforms
man,
are.
it's it. Mm-hmm.
Then it was, I think, Splash Jamaica. I would go on and I would search, and I don't think I would ever pass the second page, ever. Every single time I'd be like, Leighton, what is that, man? I just lock it off, like literally. I just couldn't see myself going back to a 9 to 5. So once I established that, hey, I've reached a point of no return, and I just have to push through and just see it through. And this is what drove me to come to JBDC, frustrations of not getting where I wanted to in the time. And I will tell you frankly, one of the most soothing things that came out of that entire JBDC experience is that entrepreneurship is a journey. And if you understand the fact that it's a journey, it will make it a lot less frustrating for you because I don't know any child that graduates from university at the age of 3. You go through infant school, primary school, high school, college, before you get to the point of working. How can we as entrepreneurs just jump up and decide, say, we're going to start a business tomorrow, it's going to be successful in the next year? It's not just like that, especially when you're doing things that are innovative and new to a market that you have to educate the market on how this thing works. It's different when you're just a business person selling something that's already in the market or supporting them. But when you're really looking at driving innovation, being different, bringing new things to the fore, then you really have to be a stickler for that journey. And I learned that in JBDC. And to be honest, it has significantly reduced my stress levels or frustrations because as entrepreneurs, we're impatient. We like to get the results now. We don't want to wait. But I've learned a lot about that journey and the undertaking that this really is. And to date, I will tell persons that entrepreneurship is not for everybody. This is by far the hardest thing that I've ever done. And I was watching a series a few nights ago where a character was saying that, listen, to run a company, you have to love to fight. And it's true. It's a fight right through until you get to those clear skies. You're continuously fighting. You're fighting with your team to get it done the right way. You're fighting with management to act with your management team to authorize decisions. Until there's a clear path of success. And oftentimes it's just your vision, your dream, your plan for yourself and also the company that really drives it forward. And again, I'll say where JBDC is concerned, I remember doing a session with Althea, Jeremy and Brad. I think Kira, you were also sitting in and just helping me to define or communicate what the company does was a major turning point for me as well. So, I would encourage persons really to seek out these support channels that are there to provide some clarity to them. And this is one of the reasons why I really appreciate JBDC because you guys are not just out there making noise, touting horns, but you're actually doing the work and doing it in a very meaningful and impactful way.
Leighton, we can just drop the mic right now. I just drop the mic. But didn't want to drop the mic for you say entrepreneurship is a journey. But just want to drop the mic here, right? So
Right.
I'm going to drop the mic again. I just want to just say I appreciate you making these comments about what the experience has been like for you working with us,
Mhm.
and it because it's important, even though not everybody going to have the same path. It's very important to know that when an entrepreneurship um, has the right mindset, and when I say the right mindset, you are very you tell me that you do your introspection and your reflection. You are aware, you said going along the path, you realize that you had to figure out what it is that you want. Who are you?
Right.
and figure out your why, basically. Why
Right.
are you doing this?
Right. Right.
And then you have to then look at, okay, this is me and this is why I'm doing this, and identify the gaps,
Right.
and then progressively, systematically go about filling those gaps. And you mentioned several ways in which you did this. You said you're always trying to learn, you're always trying to understand, such
Mm-hmm.
that you can be clear first. You want to
Mm-hmm.
understand the problem so that you create a solution. You're into innovation.
Right.
You spoke about expanding your knowledge by expanding your network, realizing that all of this can't happen just through your own, knowledge, your own vision, your own capacities, but
Right.
that other people and others can add value to what you're doing, and having the ability to bring that in
Definitely.
there.
Definitely.
Yes. So, drop my couple times, drop my moments a
Yeah,
couple times in there. My favorite, I'm gonna hashtag entrepreneurship is a journey, really. It's
right.
true.
It is. It is.
Um, we're coming down to the end of our talk. I just want to remind persons that if you are viewing and you want to give any feedback or pose any questions to Leighton, you can drop them in the chat and I will filter them in. Whether you're in the Zoom room or you are on Instagram, you can use the chat mechanism to participate. So as we are wrapping up, Leighton, tell me, what is your vision that you have for yourself and for your business? What is the big, big, big picture?
Well, for myself, as you would see, I playfully refer to myself as the e-commerce general. And it
Mm-hmm.
is very intentional. It's because for me, this is the path that I want to really master what it takes to really drive business online in as many industries as possible. For me, the key is really to help persons as much as possible to really traverse the digital space to really do business online. Based on my own observation, I believe that digital entrepreneurship can be one of those tools that Jamaicans use to overcome a lot of barriers that we're facing. There are a lot of persons who are from impoverished backgrounds or may have limitations beyond the usual, and I firmly believe that e-commerce is an opportunity that levels the playing field for every single company and entrepreneur. An entrepreneur who has a furniture shop in his backyard can compete with courts if they are able to represent themselves digitally online and they are able to sell these products and services to customers anywhere. And that for me is really where my motivation comes from. This is a tool that enables any company to compete with others anywhere in the world. And so for myself, I just want to get better and better at what I do. And frankly speaking, this is one of the reasons why even when it comes to servicing small businesses, it's something I enjoy doing because you get to see firsthand what the impact is that you may have on those companies when you work with them. So for me, it's all about enabling companies to service their customers anywhere, anytime. For me, Mobile Edge is that vehicle to drive that change, to provide the technological services and expertise to support that growth and transition to online business. And for us, what we really want to do is to build an international business that services both a local and international audience and market, and also hires from both a local and international market. As it is right now, we have customers that we're servicing in Trinidad, St. Lucia, Barbados, US, Canada. We also have team members who are joining us now from the USA, Philippines, Canada, all around. So our aim is to operate a truly global business that is able to service our customers just like if we were in front of them. So because of that, we bring a certain level of expertise, professionalism to the table as well in delivering those results. We're not only looking at relying on local talent, because one of the things I will tell you flat out, is that in a third world country, you can always look at what is happening in the first world countries and replicate them because it's just a matter of time before it gets here. So I purposefully work with a lot of persons in the US and the more advanced market to bring the level of expertise and professionalism, ways of operating to our company and to our local sphere. So because of that, you will find that Mobile Edge will never give you a type of service as a freelance designer in Jamaica or even a small boutique development firm because we just operate at an entire different level. So for us, it's all about global penetration. It's all about leveling the playing field for our customers. And it's really mainly about enabling and empowering our customers to be able to thrive in the digital space, leveraging our products, services, and knowledge base.
Wow. That's another another drop mic moment. In that you just cover that division, if you never get it, people, is bigger than yourself.
Right, it
It's
is. It
it's
is.
bigger than your company, even based on what I heard you say. It's about nation building.
It
It's
is.
about seeing a sphere of this country that you call home and we reside in, where people need opportunities and being able to create a solution that
Yeah,
can
definitely.
present the
Def-
opportunity for these people to segment,
Definitely.
to transform lives and to transform a nation. And
Definitely.
to me, that is what I've always admired about you as an entrepreneur coming into the program, and that's one of the things that has made you stand out so much amongst the cohorts that we have done. You are one of those um, minds that sees, and it's a thread that I've identified also amongst all of the entrepreneurs that I've interviewed that really have either made their mark and have shown that they've made a significant mark already, or they are obviously on that path. They've always expressed a vision that is larger than themselves, and they're always at some point in time their entrepreneurial journey became more about what is outside of them and doing and serving than it
Right.
was about making money. And I want that to just sink into whoever it needs to sink into, because it speaks to the motivation, speaks to I think how the journey and how far the journey goes,
Definitely.
how the
Definitely.
journey goes and how far the journey goes, you
Definitely.
know.
Definitely.
So I'm just glad that you are, kind of just sealing that. If I were to be collecting trends in terms of what I find when I speak to you entrepreneurs, that would definitely be one of them, because you just reiterated it.
Right, right.
And I also want to just give you a few more moments. I don't see any questions coming up in the chat, but I want to just ask you finally to, you've said so much already, but if there is one thing that you, or a few things that you would like to say to those listening, about what is the most critical thing from your point of view to being a successful entrepreneur, what would that be?
I will start with knowing your why. Knowing your why is important for getting up every single day and doing the same thing over and over, regardless of the challenges that you may face. So knowing your why is extremely important. Knowing your why will also shape how you activate and execute your plans, because it will automatically line up. Now, funny enough, I always tell persons that I'm always focused on the money, but money is never a deciding factor for me in terms of the how I execute my role as CEO of the company, and also how I engage with my customers. I'll tell you flat out that funny enough that since COVID, we've actually found a way to sell cheaper products, but more of them. And this is simply out of following the value chain that the customer identifies with. And for us, separate and apart from knowing your why, I think if we focus on creating value as opposed to making money, automatically the money comes because once you're able to create value for individuals and for companies, automatically they'll recognize that value and they will give you more work. So for me, knowing your why is extremely important. Focusing on value creation as opposed to chasing money is another. Resilience, persistence, those two as well. You can entrepreneurship does not exist without that. So you have to be prepared to tread on, you have to be prepared to walk through some muddy water sometimes. You have to be prepared to deal with uncertainty. A lot of times my wife would say to me, because females love security. That's when I said to her later, I don't understand how is it that you thrive in so much uncertainty. And it really comes down to being confident in oneself and knowing that regardless of whatever turns the business may take, you, the individual, are able to thrive regardless. And that's one of the reasons why I've invested in myself. And that's also another one that I recommend to anyone else. Invest in yourself. As I said, I turned that 10,000 investment into multiple millions of dollars. Even when I was doing JBDC, I was also doing TGL School of Sales because I was using JBDC to help to fix products while using TGL to help me to fix the sales machinery of the business. So invest in yourself, educate yourself, whether through reading or through doing courses. But the reality as an entrepreneur, it is key to be able to, for me to be able to drive the business direction in a very deliberate way. And being deliberate does not come easy. It comes through knowledge, it comes through experience, it comes through dedication, and it also comes with partnerships as well. So partnering with entities like the JBDC to help you guys is definitely one of those. And the final thing that I will say as my encouragement to anybody out there who is struggling with business is to pick up the phone and call JBDC. As these guys have multiple units, financial units, product development units, technical. They have solution for everything. One of the main things I got out of JBDC, I just finalized with this one, is that going in Kira, I knew what I wanted. I knew what I wanted to do, but the how was missing. And I remember going to workshops with like Melissa and her financial team, and they gave us these Excel templates where you could document your product pricing, number of units, the cost of each product, and it spit out the entire P&L, entire cash flow. These are things that up to today we currently use in our financial projections and our business. You understand? So when you think about the value that we get that is available within the JBDC for something like a $5,000 course and so forth, versus what you get back when you implement in your business, it is immeasurable. You cannot measure that type of thing. So I would recommend to anybody who is unsure about any particular path they want to take, like JBDC, more likely will be the best investment anybody will make, because JBDC is not going to charge a lot of money and you're going to be very real with the information you're going to be getting. So that will be my definite recommendation.
Thank you so much for that endorsement, Leighton. I mean, we should have. I feel like we paid you or something, but we already did with the
Yes,
service, right?
yes, I have got that, and I will continue to endorse because, to be
I
honest,
just
it has really been a transformative experience with us.
so happy that has been the case for you. I just
Yeah.
going to tell you, so, Alexandra was asking about, starting up a website, but she's gonna contact us based on all that you just said. She said, okay, I'm gonna contact JBDC.
Right.
And someone is asking for your contact information. If you could just share
I,
it.
I just dropped it in there. I'm
All
gonna
right. So
also
this man don't even afraid of people. Put him cell phone right in IT chat for your people. 876-808-5959 and Leighton at getmobileedge.com. There
right.
you have it if you want to reach out to him. So Shana Rose was asking if you have any ideas for animator, but we don't have time for you to answer that question. Maybe you could type it in the chat because after an hour we get booted off of instant
Ask them to reach
energy.
out. I don't think I have enough context to answer that
All
question.
right, cool. So
Yeah.
reach out, Shanna, and Leighton will see if he can help to answer that question for you. Just want to wrap up and say thank you very much for a very engaging and a very lively, interesting and inspiring conversation today, Leighton. I'm I'm trusting that the persons who were on with us also picked up and learned a lot from your sharing about, what it is that your organization does, also as about what it is